So if you're out there, listening or watching this, this gathering here today, what you're going to hear and what you're going to see, but what you're going to feel are fantastic stories everywhere, from a young woman who's pursuing apprenticeships and getting really passionate about the industry, to folks who were in a startup accelerator with Hexagon Manufacturing Intelligence, where there were some amazing technologies that could really change the way, like, how we track and have safety around additively produced parts, and just real human stories here too. So when you kind of break things out, and to the point that you go in with that mindset to create, Chris, and you go with the mindset to be consistent and capture a body of content, we have to rethink the dynamic of how do we meet. Like, we have to really, really consider that. How do we meet? And that visual digital world, or virtual in-person world, I think a lot of folks found that we had a resolution to come back, and we had a resolution, though, to do it differently. And on that note, we met some great folks. We met some people serendipitously on the floor that actually, I don't think were scheduled. I don't think, Malachi, were we pre-scheduled to meet in the IMTS Plus Creators Lounge, or was that one of our impromptus where we brought you in?
It was scheduled for one, and then we did an impromptu too.
Okay, so you got a twofer.
You infiltrated, Malachi. Yeah. It was scheduled, and then we just kept saying yes, and we said yes, and we kept on, like, having the producers in my ears and be like, "Hey, we have two more, just people joining," and I'm like, "Yeah, sure," and like
bring it.
Andrew piggybacked in there into our recap. It's like.
It was so much fun, and to tee you up a little bit, Malachi, and I'll just say this as it's said with love. I know a hustler when I see one, and I could tell that intentionality. You were going there to get business done. You were going there to create, and I just got excited by the energy. I was like, okay, keep tabs on Malachi. He's a guy like I want to definitely get to know, and hopefully we'll be friends, from this point forward. And Malachi is a recent founder, inspired to do things differently and focus his practice, his properties, elite automation, and he is creating a ton of content, and he's leading the way, and he's also being innovative in that storytelling approach. So Malachi, I want to just wish you a happy manufacturing day. Welcome to the IMTS Plus Creators Lounge Rewind, and yeah, we'd love to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. What you guys are doing, I mean, this is huge. I think putting this brand around these creators, it creates like a different vibe. It creates like a different mindset and thought process. It's almost like let's say for like Cartoon Network for kids, right? You knew you went to Cartoon Network to watch cartoons on Saturday, and this Creators Lounge, it gives you that vibe of, I can tune into this place and I'll see all the creators of the space. Like, so for me, like me personally, I'm always looking to see who else out there is making an influence and an impact. And I'll look back on stuff like this myself and see, like, who do you guys have on the show? Go do a dig and what these guys are talking about, what they're doing, the things they're involved in, and really become educated on what's going on in the industry, because definitely anybody that's looking to get into this industry, they need to be digging and looking to see what's actually going on in the industry. And, I made the mistake myself. I was an engineer for like 7 years, project manager, and doing all these things. And really, I didn't know what was going on in the industry. I knew what was going on in the building that I was in, and was operating that very well. But outside of that building was a completely different story. And even now, as a business owner, even though I'm even more outside than I've ever been, sometimes I'll notice, like, I'm in the business and I'll be like, wow, I haven't like really been on LinkedIn that much to see what's going on in the industry. And kind of have to step back into that research and that educational phase to make sure that you're staying up with what's going on in the industry, because it's going to open up all kinds of career opportunities for us, new people to connect with. And it's just an amazing place to be.
Malachi, I think that so exciting what you're saying. And also it really adds another link in the chain to Industrial Studios, whose whole mission is to create original, curated, branded content. Like, look at us now. We are around the world right now. I have two doves sitting on my window, and they're like, "What's the lady doing?" And that, like, I'm sitting on my Skittles couch. Like, we're all different places, and not everyone is able. Now there's three doves. Hey, happy manufacturing day. I've got three doves on my windowsill right now. Oh, now two. I scared one away. What I'm saying is people around the world are still able to connect through media, audio, video. If people
Absolutely.
weren't able to afford to travel because they're apprentices in their industry and they're trying to get
Hmm.
inspiration is available with the click of the button. Just what Andy,
Absolutely.
if you got one of these puppies, if you've got I'm on a loaner laptop from one of my other jobs. Guess what? I've got access. You have so many tools available to you, and I think it's so exciting that we're all able to lead the charge and give that connection and that intimacy
Hmm.
to give the inspiration that people need to fuel their fire.
Absolutely.
100%.
So, in as simple as way possible, and I'll put you on the spot, Malachi, first. What's the one thing that comes to mind that we can do, you can do, anyone can do, to create perceptions of manufacturing?
I think honestly, people have to start being more transparent. People have to start opening up their doors, really get raw with it, go behind the scenes, show off the parts of your business that are the most sexy, right? Like for us, we have a company that luckily a lot of the things are very attractive things, right? You're dealing with robots, you're dealing with programming conveyors moving, and not all companies have that, but maybe you have a piece of that equipment in your facility and you can show that piece of equipment doing its job, doing its thing, and that can be very inspiring to somebody because their perception of manufacturing, maybe a guy operating a shovel still or operating a broom or just who knows, like they think of like the manual dirty tasks, and they don't think about like this newer innovative technological environment, and not all companies are going to have this, but even the ones that don't have a lot of this stuff, they still have a lot of things that are very advantageous to show to the public. There's, I think, a lot of companies, they maybe they pay well and they don't advertise it. That's another thing too. Like people don't really understand that you can graduate with a 2-year degree and be making $28 an hour starting out. You can be making
That's
32
past
within a
the
few hours
middle.
later.
I think what, $26 is the threshold to the middle class an hour. Like that's
I
middle.
believe so.
I mean, that's a game
It's
changer.
probably shrinking, but yeah.
Like retail and lots of other things where people are pursuing.
We say this in improvisation: the process is the product. Some of my favorite moments of being a creator, right? Your journey, having a show be canceled because we didn't have anyone in the audience. There was a fire under my butt to fill those seats, right? So people are watching, and you never know who's seeing what you're doing and being inspired by it. So
Mm.
showing up every day, like the process is the product.
Yep.
I have a
Yeah,
feeling that
especially for anybody that's new and trying to do what we're doing and be creators and trying to shed light on the industry. I think, like Chris said, being consistent and not getting discouraged too, because like even today we'll post things to get 300 views or 300,000 views. So you got to be okay with like not letting the down days. I mean, like, and sometimes weird things will happen, like where we'll see like maybe set for like 7 days we're getting 300,000 impressions, and then it'll just dump. It'll just fall right off, and then we're getting 10,000 impressions or something for a week, and it's kind of crazy how there's those ups and downs, even with people who are already putting out content and already seeing some success in what they're doing. It's a grind, and to not get discouraged, and definitely don't pay attention to the numbers, especially in this industry too, because Andrew was talking about this yesterday. We're not musicians. We're not going to get 1 million views on a video. We're in manufacturing. Our market is much more niche. There's a lot less people in our industry, so there's always going to be less eyeballs. But hopefully, what we do is more impactful. We'll have more impactful messages, and the eyeballs that are seeing us are more valuable eyeballs to us. Yeah. So recently, we just launched our podcast, the Manufacturing Come Up. basically giving the stories, people's backstories. It's going back to tying in all these people's different stories from how they got to where they're at, all the way from like, what kind of child were you, to being where you are in your current career, and then some different tips to influence either people already in their career or people who are in a high school level, elementary school level, all levels, right? We're trying to bring people onto that channel that have backgrounds with different diversities, and they're trying to make impacts in the industry and also already doing their own personal things to influence people. Sponsored by Elite Automation as of right now, probably at some point in time accept outside sponsors as well. Elite Automation is also my company. I'm the CEO of Elite Automation, and we're systems integrators, working with all different types of technologies, specializing in robotic welding and the design of weld fixtures and the manufacturing of them.